Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Greenside Experience. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of how we install our hardwood floors, the type of hardwood flooring that we use, the glue that's used, and kind of the tricks of the trade. Come on, I'll show you. So the first thing we got is our hardwood boards. These are 7.5-inch wide boards, pre-finished, engineered. So what do I mean by engineered? Well, if you look at the profile of this board, you will see that we have a skin of actual oak on the top, and below that skin is an engineered plywood. So you'll see the many layers there. So because this is a pre-finished board and it's not solid hardwood all the way through, we call this an engineered hardwood. And it does have the tongue and groove pieces to interlock together. Now, how do we install this? Well, this actually sits down on the subfloor on a bed of glue. I'll show you this glue over here. So you can see we have boards laid out. They pulled their control line at the longest part of the house, which in this house is actually 113 feet from end to end. They'll snap that line and then they'll work their boards off of that. So what do we do when we have wide boards? Well, when you have wide boards, you can't just nail it down. You also have to glue it. So you'll see we have all our glue troweled in here. And this is not just your average glue. This is a special kind of glue. We use the Bona Quantum. So what this glue does is it not only acts as a bonding agent, as a glue, but it's a vapor barrier. So they will trowel this in the entire subfloor, and it takes the place of that tar paper that you commonly see installed below traditional hardwood. This acts as our vapor barrier. It completely seals off the subfloor from the engineered boards. So here, we're prepped on our subfloor, ready to install the hardwood. And you'll notice the discoloration on the floor. Well, why do we have that? The reason we have that is we bring our sander up here and we sand the entire floor to get it level, to take out all the bumps. And that's typically at the joints of all your subfloor, your plywood. Now, our subfloor is a little different than most other builders. We use 1.25" Advantech, which is much thicker than the standard 3/4-inch board. Why do we use that? I'll show you. So on this home, we've got a steel beam running right here in the subfloor, and it's flush in construction, which means it's at the same plane as all the floor joists. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but over time, the wood in this house is going to shrink, like all wood does. And when that wood shrinks, it's going to sink a little bit, but the steel won't. The steel doesn't shrink. So we kind of have mixed materials there working against each other. That's going to give us a little hump in the floor here because the depth of the steel beam is the same exact depth as the floor joist. Now, if that floor joist shrinks 1/4 inch, the steel isn't, I'm going to have a 1/4 inch hump in the floor. And the reason we use the 1.25" Advantech is that it gives us the ability to sand down and still maintain structural integrity of the subfloor. So you'll see we have a straight edge here. Maybe you'll see some floor guys or builders doing this. If I had a hump on the floor there, it would be going like this, back and forth on the crown. But we've sanded the crown out, and now it's completely flat. We switched to the thicker subfloor after years of building and running into problems like that when steel is in construction, and next thing you have a hump in your finished floor, it's a big problem. So it's a little bit more money to put the thicker subfloor in, but it's well worth it. And I want to give a little shout out to my man James from Pureza Wood. He is the supplier of hardwood for this house. This is an unpaid promotion, but I really love the product that he puts out, the Pureza Wood floors. They're pre-finished, engineered floors. So as he's installing his boards here, they'll open up the packages, they'll lay out the boards in the work area, and they'll sort through them and they'll look at the finish. They're checking for color, they're checking for knots or any imperfections in the wood. They'll take the bad boards and they'll throw them to the side. You'll see we have some boards laid up against here. Those are the boards with the knots. They'll probably go into a closet, or they'll go somewhere they'll be less visible. And the main run here will get all the best boards in the bunch. Obviously with wood is there's imperfections in wood. It's a natural product, so we try to do the best we can, placing the best boards in the best locations. So another really important aspect about installation of wood is letting the wood acclimate. All this material has been sitting in here for a week and a half, acclimating to the climate inside the house. And we control that climate. You'll see over here, we have a ton of these humidistats throughout the house. It gives us the humidity level and the temperature. Right now we're 45% humidity, which is ideal. Another important part about installing hardwood floors is to make sure your subfloor and your flooring are the same moisture content or close to the same moisture content. We got it set for 1/4-inch white oak. We're at 7.6% moisture content on these boards. Now, we want this subfloor to be within 2 to 3% of whatever's on this. And we are 7% on our subfloor. So we're actually perfect. We're, let's say 6.7 on this, and we're 7% in here. So the boards are acclimated to the climate and they're ready to be installed. That's why we're installing them. But that's one of the steps we take to make sure that the floors are going to perform the way they should perform, because our clients are making hundreds of $1,000 investments in hardwood flooring. We want to make sure it's going to perform. So here on the first and second floor, we've got that engineered hardwood boards, but in the basement, we've got something a little bit different. Let me show you. So this is what we're using. You'll see the color and the graining is excellent. Looks like real wood. Matches what we have upstairs. And if we turn the profile, you can see it's only about 3/8 thick and it's vinyl. So we can lay this down. We don't have to worry about it wicking up moisture from the concrete. We don't have to worry about a foundation leak or anything like that. This can handle all the moisture we can throw at it. So as we're walking around the house here, you're probably noticing in the video that the bottom of my walls, the drywall is off. You're probably saying, well, why did they leave the drywall off the bottom of the walls? That's because we are going to be installing baseboards that are flush with the drywall. Not installed on top of the drywall, but flush. So what we do is we actually leave the drywall off. We're going to set our floors in. Our floors are going to butt to the bottom plate. Then we'll install our baseboard. Then our drywaller and taper will come back and install a Z-channel here on top of the baseboard. It's going to have a shadow gap reveal. I don't know if I have that piece. This is our shadow gap. And you can see this will sit on the drywall. This will be our reveal. Our baseboard will sit right there. So we're going to have this probably about a 5/8 to 1/4-inch reveal. But our baseboards will get installed. This will sit down on top, and then this will get mudded and taped in to give us that flush look with that shadow gap reveal. And then you're probably wondering, the exterior walls look a little different. That's because I've actually installed a WRB on all the exterior walls just so that I don't get too much moisture transfer from the outside to the back of our baseboards. Just a little belt and suspenders. Another nice thing is our trim is solid poplar. So this is some casing profile, but you can see it's all solid. It holds up good. It can get a little damp if there's an accident and still function and perform. It can take a beating, not like MDF, which once it's dented, it's garbage. I mean, MDF is just paper anyways. But we use solid poplar in all our trim. So we've got some other boxes of material here. Really short boards. Why do we have short boards? Well, these boards actually are going to make up a herringbone design. So they're all cut to the exact same size. It's the same engineered hardwood, the same 1/4 inch top layer, wear layer as they call it. And these will all go into the herringbone pattern. We'll have this in the foyer and the master closet on this project. But that's pure Hazelwood again. They can make all this stuff custom, pre-finish it, so it's ready to be installed on site in any size or pattern you want. All right, guys, thanks for joining us today to get a little peek of how we install our hardwood floors, the materials we use, and the means and methods in which we install them. Stay tuned for future episodes where we're going to be talking millwork, decorative ceilings, door installs, hidden door installs, easy jams, all that fun stuff. See you next time.